Hello, Salon Sleuth fans. My name is Melissa, and my co host is Leslie. We decided we wanted to share our salon stories. We both have an interest in crime stories and a fascination with the psychic world. So settle in each week as we share another story with you. Who knows, you might even learn something.
Hello, Salon Sleuth fans. And Leslie, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Melissa?
I'm awesome. My husband and I went on a big hike. We went to Lawrence Lake near Hood River. Have you ever been there?
I have not even heard of it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I hadn't either. But if you don't have the All Trails app, it's amazing.
I do love that app.
Yeah, it's great. But we looked it up and it was supposed to be a lightly traveled hike. So we go out and it took us like probably an hour and a half, hour and 15, hour and a half maybe to get out there, which by the way, I've never been to the Fruit Loop in Hood River. Have you
Oh,
heard
you
of the Fruit Loop?
haven't? Oh, yes.
No. Okay, Fruit Loop, by the way,
So we
sounds
hang out in Hood River quite often in the summertime because we would stay at one of the campgrounds that is like first come, first serve. And it's
yes.
right on Hood River. And I didn't even know that Hood River was an actual river that went down to the Columbia. So,
Well, I
yes,
don't
I
know
am
that I knew
very
that either.
familiar with the Fruit Loop. And if anybody here in Oregon has not heard of it, we highly suggest you go figure that out.
Yeah, and I kind of thought that the Fruit Loop was like, because I'd looked at a map, somebody had given me like a brochure on it, and I was like, oh, you can ride your bike around the Fruit Loop.
No.
No,
Mm-mm.
no, 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 no. It's huge.
It's
And
big.
yeah. So we went kind of through, I guess, through the Fruit Loop. And I'm like, oh, this would be fun to come back and do some other time. But we had, our eyes set on this hike and crazy. So we get up there to the top of the hike and I stop because I see this woman in front of me. I'm like, Eric. And I kind of turn to him and he's like, hey, he works with her.
Weird.
Yes.
That's funny.
I mean, we're an hour and a half away from home and we end up seeing one of his colleagues.
Okay,
Like,
so that's my husband. He knows everybody from wherever we go. We could be at a rest stop in like Utah and he would know somebody. He just
really?
knows everybody. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Well,
Yeah.
usually it's me, but this was him, and I was just completely shocked. In fact, last week we did the Banks bike ride.
Oh, yeah.
Have you done that one?
I have not, but I was supposed to do a run and then that particular day it was like pouring down rain and I decided not to go and it was out there.
Okay. Well, this is cool because that one's cool because for our listeners, you start in Banks, Oregon, and there's an old railroad track, and they built a paved path that goes from Banks all the way to Vernon. I didn't even recognize them because we got helmets on and we're all geared up and sunglasses. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so today we're going to talk about urban myths, but I have a couple tidbits before we get started on this. Okay, as a mom of grown teenager adults slash whatever, I kind of want to stay hip, I want to know what the new words are and a lingo. So I have a question for you. Have you heard of the Karen? Okay. This is okay, so this
Yeah.
is what I
It's a big small world. We live in this
okay.
really weird
So
yeah.
yes, I
I think
just
that's
heard of
really
this,
cool though when
Leslie.
you run
Okay,
into
so
people
let's
like
back
that.
up.
It's fun.
First of all,
Yeah.
I know some Karens and I think why are we
I'm so
calling this a
excited.
Karen? Because I don't think
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, and for the listeners who did not know, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna fill you in. So oh my god. Okay, well, okay, yes. Okay, so
Mhm.
I knew probably a month ago when all those ladies that were, like,
You haven't?
freaking out at the
Is this
grocery
a new thing for
stores because they had
you?
to wear a mask.
Because I even have a
This
client
is
named
when I figured
Karen, and I
out
even
what
asked her, "Does this bother you?" She thinks
well,
it's
I know,
funny.
but this is when I figured
She
out what
does
a
not take it
Karen was. I was
personally.
like,
She
"Wait,
actually thought it
what?
was
What's
very
a
funny.
Karen?" Like, I did not get it. Yeah, I was like, well, I got it when they were like, "This is Karen," or, whatever, how they said it. But, for our listeners who don't know, okay, maybe I'm the only one,
Yeah, where
whatever.
did the actual name
A
come from?
Karen
Was
is
there an
so fun.
original
It's a
person named
woman,
Karen?
right?
Okay.
And it's kind of a bitchy woman.
Melissa, I kind of feel like you might be the only
That's true,
person that
'cause I
didn't
was gonna
know.
say, why is it
It's
only
all
women?
over social
Wha
media. Like, how did you not know
Okay,
this?
why do we not
Okay.
have a word or a term for men, for a man that does this?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Like
the
a
guy
month
at
ago, this is
Costco.
still going on every day.
The guy at Costco. Did you not see that?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so
You
here's
just
my
thought
thing with
everybody
this.
was named
First of all,
Karen.
I kind of feel bad for all the Karens in the world, but I do think it's funny too. But this is when
Okay.
I first learned of this, and I wanna ask you if you remember what we used to call these guys. So when my daughter came home from school, she's like, "Ah, fucking Chad."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What?" And
I mean,
she's like,
could it be
"Oh,
a
that's
man
what we
and that we
call,
just were like, whatever, it's just being,
like,
he's being
really
a total Karen?
douchey guys or
Okay.
whatever. They're just kinda
No, I think
nasty.
it could be a man
We
having a
call 'em
fit.
fucking Chads." So I'm like, "Oh, that's the term. Okay." So I start throwing this around with her. She thinks it's funny. She
Well,
thinks I'm
I mean, are
funny.
there
Whatever.
videos of
I
men
think I'm
having a
cool at this
fit at the
point.
grocery store because they're not wearing their
But
mask? And are there? Okay, I haven't seen
do
them, but
you
okay.
remember
Oh, there is
what
a
we
couple.
used to
Yeah,
call
you're
guys
right.
like that?
I don't know if I've seen that one, but you could tag
That
me in it.
just tried a little too hard and all that. Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
I think it's equal to he's Swayze.
Okay.
Okay. Do you
You.
Lenny and Squiggy? Oh. Are you talking about the Jersey Shore? Oh, okay.
Um,
Those are
I
called
don't
Guidos.
refresh my brain. You say, I don't
Yeah.
know.
That was a I think that was the term before
Okay.
fucking Chad.
I never said that. I never even heard it,
Okay,
but I
so
can
the
totally get
Swayze
what you're
came
saying.
from
Like a
Patrick
like a
Swayze.
grease ball. Like I think of
Oh,
those
okay, you
dudes
got
in
that?
the
Okay. Well,
ew, those icky guys. Oh gosh,
okay.
the TV
Okay.
show
Well, I'm
and
feeling a little let down
the
because
guy had
I've
the
never heard of that
spiked hair
before,
and the
but
other guy had it was like
I think that
pushed
whole
back
thing
and
is just
oh
the
my god,
new
what is her name?
version of
No, no,
that,
it's
and
way newer than
I
that.
kinda feel
They
bad
lived
for all
in a
the
big
Chads in the
house
world. I
together and they
mean,
were like
I don't know.
they
I've
worked
known a
out,
couple
they
Chads and they weren't like that.
went to the laundry and tanning, whatever it was. Yes. That's what I think of, like Swayze guy. Sorry, I could not think of that.
No, but I vaguely
Ew.
remember the cat.
Okay, well, I would think of it like
I
kinda like a
vaguely remember.
greaser, gross guy. A Swayze. I don't know if I've ever used that one, but
Oh, yeah, she married him.
yeah, no, I got that. Well, I
Uh,
never heard of it before, but I totally knew what
oh,
you were saying when you
so
said
that's
that
probably where that
because
came from.
yeah,
Huh, huh,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
well, okay, fine, whatever, made me feel real old. Okay, so we are gonna talk about urban myths, but I also wanna do a prelude
Yeah.
because do not let me forget. I wanna talk about my reading with
Remember
Alice
like a
Moon.
Drew Barrymore,
Oh
and there
my
was a movie
gosh,
and
oh my gosh,
that
oh my gosh, oh
Chad
my
lived
gosh.
on the boat, and she would refer to him as the Chad. Do you know which guy I'm talking about?
I
That
don't know.
last name was Green.
I think I just
I
don't
think they
think
dated
you're
or married or
you're
something.
you're putting your
What
efforts
was his
towards it.
name?
Right
Yeah,
now, you're
and
putting your
so in the
efforts toward
movie,
the
he was
podcast.
referred to as the Chad, and she would be like, "The Chad." You don't remember that? Okay, never mind.
No.
I don't know. He's kind of a weirdo. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, so should we talk about this now then? Okay, let's talk about it now. Okay, so for our listeners, we had Alice Moon on
Pretty
last
crazy.
episode, and,
How is
she
it that I have all these
episode
really cool
21, there
friends
you
that
go,
can do
girl.
these really cool
And
things
she's a
all
medical
around me, and I'm
intuitive.
like,
She's
"What the
really
hell
just
is
kind
wrong
of
with me?
getting started
I
in the
wanna do
last
that."
5 years, and
She's really good.
she
She's
really is unsure of her talents and kind
probably
of
not.
how
I'm too
she's, I
ADD.
guess, maybe channeling them maybe a little bit or how confident she is,
And the cool
right?
thing with her
Well, so
is,
after listening
she doesn't know you. And I did not tell her
okay.
anything about you. Only she knew was what we had talked. You were on the radio with me. Like that's all she knew. She didn't know anything else. But you thought I told her, and I did not say a word to her.
Well, good, good. Well,
I mean,
so
we
after
could.
listening to
It's up to
episode
you.
21, I was like, okay,
Okay.
you know what? I need to be getting some
Yes.
gut health here, right? So I sent you a message. So she
Episode
didn't even hear
21.
directly from me. And I just said, look, these are my
Yep.
issues. This is what's going on. What does she see? So she sent me back a full on message. This is the craziest shit I have ever heard. First of all, she
Well,
says,
the funny
did
thing
you
is
see
she
this email?
knows,
Did
but
she send you a
she
copy of
has
it?
she
Or
doubts
have you not
herself
seen it?
still, but
Okay.
but when she talks to you, like she knows exactly what she's talking about. So I don't know where that doubt actually comes from, but we're going to change that for her. Yes.
You're kidding.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It blew my hair back because, first of all, she says right ear pain. And then she puts candida related. Well, I don't really didn't know what candida is. I do now. Okay, people. It's kind of like yeast in your stomach, right? Well, I have been diagnosed a couple different times as different things, but first it
No,
was Meniere's,
I
and
haven't
most
seen it.
people have heard of
The thing
that.
was,
So
she even after
I tend
you
to
had
call
gotten
it
it, and
that.
you were like, "Have you said something
Then
to me
the second
to
doctor I
about
saw
you?"
called it
And
endolymphatic
I
high
said,
drops because he said, you don't have the hearing
how did that?
loss.
No, you
And
asked
then
that,
the
and then
one
she
I'm
goes,
going to
"Is this the
now,
same Melissa
he
from the
calls it
podcast?" She didn't
vestibular
even know
migraines.
who
Whatever.
you were.
Here's the deal.
That's what
It's
was even
in my
weirder.
right
She didn't
ear
put the two
and it
together.
causes
She just
dizziness
knew it was some Melissa
slash
that I sent her
vertigo
the message
symptoms.
for.
Okay. I've had this for probably
Yeah.
10
Anyway,
years.
let's
I'm on
go.
a low sodium diet. Sometimes it gets worse when my ear gets kind of inflamed and swollen. But she basically says this is from candida, which is all in your gut. Okay. So
Mhm.
then she says, you feel, oh, wait, I should have even started because, oh my gosh. Okay. You text me the following morning and you said her head hurt last night. She's going to bed, something about a migraine. And I said, no, I haven't had a migraine in a while, but I do get migraines. Okay, Leslie, what? 6 hours later, I get a migraine. I am on the sofa, face up, out to the world. Well, it sent her to bed. She said her head was hurting so bad she had to go to bed. This poor woman. I mean, this sounds actually kind of horrible to be getting other people's illnesses. So now she sends me the email, okay? Right ear pain. Okay, yeah, I do have that. Feels cold a lot. Low thyroid related. Okay, I've never heard low thyroid. I have been tested
Yeah.
before. Never been told that I have low thyroid, but then she says, um, overweight and not where you want to be. I'm like, absolutely yes, that is absolutely true. And
Yeah.
weight has been harder and harder for me to keep off, even despite the fact that I exercise typically 5 to 6 times a week. So I'm like, what's going on? Well, she says low thyroid. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I'm going to see about getting that tested. She says, you get or used to get horrible migraines that would knock you out and put you to bed. Yes. I look back, I've had 6 already this year. W- I do track them, I write them down. I only had 2 in
Mhm.
2019. And then she says, still get headaches, active, you played sports or still do. Food sensitivities or allergies. Have you been tested? No, I've never been tested. She says high estrogen inhibits thyroid function and leads to magnesium deficiency. Magnesium deficiency leads to temper, headaches, migraines, and cramps. Okay. Another thing you need to know is 18 years ago, I was put on a magnesium supplement, a slow release for my migraines. And it has really, really helped my migraines. So I have been on this magnesium
Oh, you
for
actually
18
track them.
years. Yeah. So then she says, are you thinning on top but
Wow.
have lots of hair? Like, well, I do have lots of hair, but I don't know that I'm thinning. So now I'm all looking in the mirror. Like, I'm going to have to ask my hairdresser or you, can you check my hair? Am I thinning? I don't know. Then gut issues, not digesting food well. This causes a lot of problems in the body. Holes in the stomach leads to low thyroid and autoimmune, Hashimoto's disease. Isn't that what you have? Okay. So I need
Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
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 Wow. Yeah, so I yeah.
Yes. She thinks a lot of things stem from the gut. Like if those things, then everything kind of shoots off
Well,
from
and it
there.
doesn't mean that she's
So it doesn't necessarily
absolute
like
on
so
all
if
these
your
things,
gut
like
was like in full like healthy and you didn't have those issues, you
yes,
probably wouldn't then have
exactly.
low thyroid and other things. Like when they check my thyroid, they're only checking for this one particular number and that's the number they're medicating me for. When there's like this whole other issue that she's like
It's
they're
tangible.
not treating the
Yeah.
whole picture. They're only treating that like one number. Yeah, and so I think when it comes to, like, psychics and stuff, I think what she does is
Well,
what most
I
people
don't
are
see it as
fearful
being
for,
scary, quite
right?
frankly.
They don't wanna know that
I
they're
see it
dying.
as
They don't
being a
wanna know
place to
that they're
start.
sick. They don't
So
wanna
I'm
worry
certainly
about their
gonna get
family,
my
and
thyroid
so
tested,
I think a lot
and
of
I
people
have
are
had it
going to
tested,
hesitate coming
but
to her
she
because
says,
it
"Find a
is
great
so
naturopath doc to
scary.
test your thyroid. I know you've been tested before, but it comes back in range."
It doesn't, but it doesn't
Okay,
mean that, like, what if you
whoa,
had
because I
something
have been
that she
tested
could
before
help
and
you
she
with
comes back in range.
before
She
you
didn't know
became
that.
really
She
sick or
just knows
before,
that knows
she's
that.
trying to stop those things from happening.
So she says testing the
But I
blood
do
is not
think
the most
her
accurate
line of
way to
work is
test
gonna
the
be a lot
thyroid.
harder than somebody like Suzanne Jockis because
So, yeah,
they don't see the same
crazy,
things, and it's
crazy,
scary. I
crazy.
think most people, I think out of fear, don't go to place people like her or
Yeah,
in
okay,
general
f
to psychics
next thing
because
was
of they're
raised
worried about
fingernails.
knowing
You
what the
know
future
me,
holds for
you know
them.
my nails. Yes. I mean, that's a weird thing to pull out and, like, be
I
right
don't think so
about.
either.
So, yeah, there's some
Yeah.
other stuff in here, but really is about getting my
Yeah.
gut and my brain back in a healthy way. So, I immediately went to Whole Foods and got a bunch of probiotic stuff that some of it tastes bad, some of it's
Yeah.
okay. I'm looking for a naturopath. I'm doing my research and
Yeah.
I've already put in
Yeah.
some emails out to people. So I'm getting that under control. But then she
Yeah.
says, "Your son." Oh my gosh. First of all,
Well, and then
I
she
think I've
told
said
you
this
something about
before,
your
but
son, and then you're like, "Oh, she
my
probably
son
told
is
you."
ADD and we
Yeah.
also found out when he was a sophomore in high school that he was
Yeah, I
dyslexic.
do.
He's a very high functioning
Yeah.
dyslexic and he really struggles with writing and words and pronouncing words. And we had no clue because he really compensates really, really well because he is smart. But she says, "Your son, he has a hard time focusing. You have a hard time with him. He can be rude. He sounds like a teenager." And then she says, "Your son is smart, but not a great student. You try to help, but maybe it seems like helicoptering." Oh my gosh, yes. So many times I'm like, okay, I can't continue to help him. I'm not always going to be there. So I really struggle with, that balance between gentle reminders, and not. Then she says, "High functioning dyslexic, slow processor, emotional, sensitive. He's probably an empath." Empath? Empathic? Yeah. High functioning dyslexics are very smart, but their strength is not in the classroom. Absolutely 100% what we figured out about him. He needs a tutor that understands him. We've gotten him tutors.
Mhm.
He's had great tutors. So that was like right on. We know that when he has to do
Mhm.
writing projects and stuff, he does need a tutor. But oh my gosh, that blew my hair back because there's no way she could have known any of that, and that she nailed dyslexia and the fact that he has hard time focusing,
Yeah.
and he does have a real quick anger button that all of a sudden he'll just explode. So yeah, this whole
Yep.
email from
Empath,
her,
yeah.
I just was
Mhm.
like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." And then I did say to her, I was like, "Wait, did you talk to Leslie? Did you?" Crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, she is. Yes.
Yeah.
You're a connector. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that about you. Well, so here's our main event then.
Mhm.
Urban myths that are actually true. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. She's good. She's great. She really has a
Okay.
talent that I'm super envious of, but
So
that's
here's the
okay.
deal.
Just
I
like
did go
I've
down
done
some
for
rabbit
other people in
holes
the
and there's a
past, I
whole
am more
bunch.
than
And I was like,
happy
I've
to
never heard of
help
this urban
her,
myth. So I tried to
you know,
stick with
get
things that
get better and to
either were,
share her with my
well, I
friends
have one
and
on here that happened in Portland.
promote
So
her.
I'm going to talk about that one. But
I am.
ones that I
I like
kind
to
of
know
had
people and
heard of,
connect the people together when
things
they
that
need it.
not, crazy stuff that I've really never
Oh,
heard of. I didn't even bother. But okay. So
yes.
this is from
Yes.
mentalfloss.com.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was
Rats in
gonna
the
try to
toilet
go with
coming up and biting
conspiracy
you.
theories, but they get so deep and kind of crazy that I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. So
Okay.
I did
In
research some
1999,
also urban
it
myths,
really
and
happens.
let's just go
In
through because I'm sure we both have about the
1999,
same
a
ones. Maybe not
rodent
though. I'm
bit
really
the
curious what you came
bottom
up
of
with.
a woman. And this is so common that apparently in Seattle,
Yeah.
the public officials have given advice on what to do if you see a rat in your toilet. And guess what the advice is? Close the lid
Yeah.
and flush it. I'm like, yes, because they said the sewer pipes are
Okay.
3 inches
Hmm.
in diameter. And so they can actually climb up
I
because they
saw that
like
one
the
too
smell of sewer
on
and the smell
your
and everything. So they can
mental
actually
floss.
climb up those pipes.
Yeah.
But
They said it
apparently there's
really
another urban myth
happens.
that alligators do this
Grr.
or in like New York City. And they said, no, that can't be true because alligators get too big
Ew.
and no, yeah, they wouldn't fit up there. Um, yeah, yeah.
Flush it.
Oh,
Yeah. So it's actually coming up from the sewers. It's
yeah, maybe the moms kind of like fish. They don't just swim around with the mom. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
ew.
Okay, this one I'd never heard of, but I put it in here because it actually happened in Portland. Well, I guess the legend of it kind of happened in Portland. Have you heard of the game or the legend of Polybius?
Like baby alligators. Yuck. Well, my aunt lived
Okay.
in Louisiana and her kids would go and collect little
Yeah,
tiny ones,
so
I
it's
guess.
a
I
vintage
don't know how this is
video
possible
game
because how are there
that's
not big
one of
ones
those
with little
video
ones? But
games
they would put
coin
them in the bathtub
operated.
when my aunt would come home from
And
work and she'd freak
remember,
out
we
and
used to
she'd
have
make
to
them
like
put them
go
back outside.
places to
But
play video games. It
I'm like,
wasn't like
wherever
you
those
pull
little
them in
ones
the
got to
car.
be a
Yeah,
mom
an
somewhere.
arcade.
That's
So
scary.
apparently, yes, 1980. Yep, I was gonna say. So in 1980 in
Ew.
Portland,
I
there
don't
was
know.
a
Just those
boy
are things that
who
I'm so
came
happy
in
we
and
don't
did
have
like a
here.
24-hour game
Okay.
marathon thing. And the myth was that this game had a strange effect on players. Well,
So I
apparently,
had that in
this
my list
boy,
too.
some of
I
this
had that
stems
written
from the
down.
fact
So
that
tell me
this
the story
boy
because I
did
thought that was
this
really
all
weird
night
too.
game marathon. And he, it says that the game prompted feelings of disorientation, amnesia, game addiction, and even suicide.
Right.
But
It's
the
an arcade.
legend, the
Yes.
truth of the legend was
And this
that a
is from the
12-year-old
80s,
boy
right? Like
named
mid 80s.
Brian
Okay.
Moreau had become sickened during a 28-hour marathon video game contest in 1981 in Portland. They now say he apparently drank too much soda during the marathon. Yes. Yes. I know. Yes. I totally agree with you. Like, my stomach does not handle that very well. 12. Yeah, he was 12. Yeah. And So here's the deal though. I guess in truth, this is kind of how this urban myth comes together, is that also a few days later, FBI raided a Portland area arcade and seized these cabinets or these games, which they call them cabinets because they were in these big cabinets. So these two events got put into this sort of weird urban myth that this game
Okay, you know what? I used to
was
do all-night
controlling
skating at
people
Oaks
and that
Park.
the
It was like 8
FBI
PM to 8
was
AM.
behind it.
I would get sick
And
in
they were
those just be from being up too much. So being up 28
yeah,
hours, you were going to be sick anyway. Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
And he was like 11, right? He was young. 12, yeah.
Yes, exactly. They were gambling. That's why the FBI had raided that arcade is because people exactly. Yes. Yeah. So the 2 things kind of got conflated together, I guess, into this urban myth, but parts of it are true. It just doesn't seem like the whole myth is really
Mhm.
true. Which I've never heard of it.
Because
Okay.
in that article, it mentions that these
Yeah.
men in black would come and get something out of the machines. And
Well, and
then,
maybe
like
it
you
was a
said,
local
they were
game?
raided, but they were also a home where people
Like,
would
maybe
do
it started
illegal
here?
gambling. So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Like, we were around 12 years old,
yes.
I think.
But they took those machines too, I've heard. Is that right? Yeah.
I don't I don't think I know Brian Moreau. I lived out I lived out in the boonies.
Yeah.
We didn't get to the big city much.
Now,
Yeah,
then there's
yeah,
things that, like, some people, like,
yeah.
did that game
Okay,
actually
so
really
here's another
exist? Do
one that
people actually
I will
remember
tell
that
you, I
game?
didn't know this was an urban myth,
I
but,
hadn't either, but, like, there
I'm
were
a little
when I was
freaked
going
out
through
about
some of the
elevators. How
threads,
about
some
you?
people actually remember it, and some people have no idea what we're talking about.
They don't
So,
bother you at
it
all?
didn't sound like if this was a true
Not
game,
even
there
when they do
wasn't
that
much of
jumping
it.
thing, like, when they're
I
coming
mean,
to a
there wasn't
stop and they go dunk, dunk, dunk,
yeah, I
dunk.
don't know, because it's kind of a big thing that it happened in
Ooh.
1981 in Portland, Oregon. You know? Yeah. I thought that
Oh,
was kinda
okay.
interesting.
All right. Well, apparently
Yeah.
there's an urban
I
myth
mean, we probably knew
that,
this kid, maybe. I mean,
or
he's probably our age now.
I'm not sure it's really a myth because that you can be
I
decapitated
don't know.
in an elevator. Well,
Yeah,
this is
I don't
actually
know where in
true.
Portland there
Yet,
were lots of arcades, though. I mean, that's what I
okay,
mean, there's still a few
August
out there. Yeah.
2003 in Houston, Texas, a 35-year-old surgical resident got stuck between the doors of a cable propelled, I think that's important.
No, they
I
don't
don't know
bother me.
why, but cable propelled elevator. So just
No,
check the
not
elevator
really.
before you get on. He was decapitated while his colleague
Well,
watched
I
the
think it's kind of
elevator
exciting,
ascend.
and I don't say I love it,
So
but it
what had
doesn't I don't
happened
think it
is
bothers
she got in the
me.
elevator
Yeah.
and he was trying to catch the elevator as the doors closed and he got stuck in between the two doors. And apparently there's a set of contacts on the doors. So
What?
if
No,
those
I'm
aren't
not gonna like elevators. Tell
touching,
me the story.
the door should not move. And in fact, the door should open back up and then the elevator won't go up and down. Well, the elevator had been out of order for the like previous 4 days before this.
Mm.
And they actually found afterwards that there was faulty wiring. Somebody had
Yeah, I
plugged
know they
like
do that.
2 items into one circuit or whatever. So those things weren't working. So he got stuck in the door shut on him, then it took off and it popped the head off. The head went into the car, the body fell. The woman had to ride to the ninth floor
Yeah,
with the head, the severed head.
right.
Oh my gosh. I would be traumatized. I couldn't ride that elevator ever again. Yeah. Horrible, 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 horrible. Okay, so this is the question because there's a lot of urban myths that say that if you get decapitated or like what are those gauntlets where they cut your neck? What are those called? Guillotine? Guillotine, yeah. That you can actually survive to like 15 seconds after your head comes off. Kinda like Mike the Chicken. Apparently, this happened a long, long time
Would you be
ago
like, "Did that
when
really just
somebody,
happen?"
there's a myth that, I think it was a woman, like, gosh, one of the queens or something. Anyways,
That is so
she
sad.
they hit her head and with a
And, like,
guillotine,
did it
but
hurt?
left
Like,
part of her
did it
jaw.
happen so quick that he didn't know and then it was like Mhm. A guillotine. Yeah, guillotine. I was just gonna say, unless you're a chicken, we can just feed you down the hole. The queen got her head chopped off, but
Yes,
straight
and
across.
her eyes, like, blinked.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah, right? I think
And
that's just a really archaic way to kill somebody, but whatever.
terrible.
So here's another one though.
Yeah.
January 6th, 1995, in the Bronx, in an office building, James Chenault was helping a fellow passenger out of an elevator car. It stopped slightly above the second floor, and her foot got trapped. His back was holding the door open, which, by the way, I do that all the time, especially people with strollers and stuff to help them in.
Yeah. Yeah.
The car lurched upward, and again, his body went to the bottom of the shaft, and the head stayed in the car with another passenger.
19 what? What year was this?
1995.
Oh my god.
Yes. This is modern day things, people. This is modern elevators. This is a legitimate fear of mine, is a free fall.
Yeah, free falling is one thing, but getting your head chopped off by an elevator is a totally
Okay.
different thing.
Totally agree with you. And by the way, I will not be sticking my body in between the elevator anymore. I kind of have
I'm
always
not
thought,
gonna put my hand out, like, I'm not you're
no,
either in or not,
yeah,
like, it's up to you if you're gonna get in this elevator.
you're either in or you're not.
Although, a lot of times, like, we will just take the stairs.
Well, yeah, but sometimes that's not possible, or the
Yeah.
rest of the group doesn't want to,
Yuck.
or, whatever. But I mean, I've been known to get on an elevator. I've been known to stick my body in between the elevator and the doors.
Yeah. Have you seen the ones where, like, the dog went in the elevator and he's got the leash or he's in it and the dog's out? You've seen those videos, right? Where the dog's, like, hanging because the
No.
leash is,
And
like,
it goes
inside
up?
like
Oh
yeah, I've
god.
seen there's you can find that on YouTube, it's really sad.
Oh god, that's
Terrible when it's like a
horrible.
puppy and it's, like, sitting there. Oh my
Oh
god.
my god, that's horrible.
Terrible.
Okay, so
But
this one I actually think I had heard of.
okay.
This, and I don't really think it's an urban legend that's actually true, but maybe, I don't know. Some of these I thought was a stretch. I just thought they were really funny stories still, like creepy, so I'm telling him anyways. But now, have you heard of a woman or someone living in somebody's cupboards?
Yes.
You
Like, at night?
Yes. Well, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So 2008 in Tokyo, a homeless woman. Now, had you heard of this before you researched this?
Yes, I've seen a video, but, I just don't know if they're real or not, where, like, the lady comes out of the cabinet.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
2008 in Tokyo, a homeless woman lived in a man's house in his closet for 1 year.
Yeah. Well, did he put was he the one that put the video that showed her coming out and everything?
Yes. So
Because
he
she's, like, drinking eating his food and
yeah.
drinking and
So he started missing food, and he started, like, realizing that, like, things weren't around anymore, and he was like, I swear we had food here," and whatever. Well, so he set up cameras, and he actually saw her, like, walking around his apartment at night, and he took it
she
to the police.
drank from his milk container.
Yes.
That is
Yeah.
gross.
So he took it to the police, and he was like, "This night burglar is coming into my apartment." So the police came and they started investigating. No, no, sir. She was living in your closet for 1
Yeah.
year. And she apparently had been taking showers while he was away at work, and the comment was, "Well, she was actually very nice and tidy."
Oh. Because he never knew she was there,
Yes.
really.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And she was like
Okay. Yeah.
she
That's just gross.
yeah. And she was kinda like, "Well, I had nowhere to live, and so I was just gonna do that for a little while, and then" like, "What?"
Like, she crawled, like, out of, like, above his, like I don't know if it was, like, his, pantry or something? Like, there
Well,
was a
see yeah,
cabinet
and here
above it.
I was
She'd
not really
climb out
clear
at
on that
night.
because I heard
Have you seen the
cupboard.
video?
No! There's a
Okay, I'll
video?
find it. I'm gonna say oh, yeah. You see the video of her climbing out.
Oh my gosh, stop it.
Okay, do you know the legend of Candyman?
Okay, no, I'd never heard of that one. I passed over it because I was like, "I don't even know what this one is."
Okay, so this is really scary, and I don't know what the whole story of the Candyman, but,
Yeah.
supposedly, like, I think it could be one of those things, like, when you look in the mirror and you're like, "Candyman, Candyman, Candyman," and, like, this person it's kinda like Bloody Mary,
Yes.
but and then, you have to be in fear of this Candyman, but in 1987, in Chicago, this lady named Ruth McCoy was freaking out because there was something in her house. Then she called 911 and she insisted that she's being attacked in her apartment. When they get there, they found she was dead from a gunshot wound, and the person who attacked her had came through her medicine cabinet.
Oh,
And
yes.
what happened is those apartment complexes, those medicine cabinets are medicine cabinet to medicine cabinet in
Yep.
each of the bathrooms. So if you remove them, you see the back of the other one so you can climb through.
Yes.
And that's how he had gained access to her apartment. So, which by the way reminds me of a story from a long time ago where a girl had gotten attacked in her apartment. And it was because the crawl space in her apartment or her condo or whatever it was, because underneath their building, it wasn't segmented or whatever. So
Oh.
somebody could crawl through theirs, go underneath the house, and go up through the other. And that's how they were getting access to these different apartments. So when my friend Amber bought her condo, she has this like thing in her attic. And I'm like, you need to go check that. You need to lock that because I bet you anything it's open all the way through
You're
and somebody
freaking
can
her out,
access.
you realize.
Oh, I think she put a lock on it, but because I think that really happens because those were apartment complexes and they needed to have common access because they were saying in that Candyman story was they did that on purpose so that
They could
if
do the
the or
plumbing.
yeah, for the plumbing reasons, right? So everything's in that wall. Well, all you have to do is take out the medicine cabinet and you have access to everything. So kind of the same thing. If there's a leak in the basement, you have this common area that they all go to, but people were able to break into other people's apartments because of those crawl spaces.
Okay, so have you heard of Oregon or sorry, Oregon.
I have heard of
Yeah,
Oregon.
have
Yes, I
you?
live there.
Okay, how's
I
that?
have. Yes.
No, of Oregon thieves, like stealing people's kidneys and all that?
Oregon.
Oregon.
I've heard of the urban legends, but I don't know much about that other than people would wake up in the bathtub with ice and a note that says you need to get to a hospital because you're going
Yes.
to
Okay,
die. Yeah.
so first of all, I didn't know that was an urban legend. I thought that actually happened, but I'm not gonna say that I thought they were alive after waking up, but I remember this whole, like, "Ooh, be careful," kind of a thing, this is happening. So I don't know that I necessarily knew it was pretty fake, but it turns
And I think
out
it was also like a fear of like you don't go and have drinks with somebody because they could
drug
I think it
you.
was more of a fear thing, right? Because they didn't want you to do that and because you might wake up unknowingly with your kidney gone or
Exactly.
whatever.
In
Yeah.
a bathtub. I
Yes.
I don't know exactly where I remember this from, but I do remember it, and I don't know that I knew if I knew that it was real or fake or, that people would still be alive because you can live with 1 kidney, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so this is based in truth. Not to say that the way we know it with the bathtub and everything is true, but get this. In 1989, a Turkish man, Mr. Koch, uh, who had been brought to Britain to sell a kidney, comes in to a like a hospital, and says that somebody had brought him to Britain for a job. And when he got there, they were going to do some blood tests for the job, right? Do a medical check. And he went to what he thought was a hospital, but it was actually, he said, seemed like a hotel. And he was given this injection to pull blood to do his test. And when he came to, he was told that his appendix had been taken out. Okay, first of all, I'm not sure how effective a new appendix is for somebody.
Yeah. You
But
don't even need one, I don't think.
exactly. But 3 days later, he was told that his kidney had been removed and put into another patient and that he would receive a lot of money.
Hmm.
But now get this. By the end of that year, because this was like in January of 1989, by December, it was uncovered that he had concocted this entire story and that actually he had posted an ad in a Turkish newspaper offering to sell one of his kidneys.
What?
Yes.
So it never really happened, or did it
It
happen?
it it apparently did happen, but he actually was the man that offered it. So apparently it was these brothers, and they did somehow get somebody to harvest his kidney, but then he went to the police and was like, "These people harvested my kidney," and blah, 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 blah. But he had really offered it up.
Why would he do that?
I don't know. Crazy?
That's like that family who, made that like balloon um thing that looked like a UFO. And then they're like, "Oh my god, my son's
Oh,
missing."
yes.
And they thought he was in it, or they said. And then they did the interview and the boy's like, "I was hiding like you told me to," or whatever. I remember he like came
Yes.
forward and told their lie.
It wasn't a
And they're like,
balloon,
"What do you mean?
it was
What do you mean we didn't say that?"
yes, it was that he had flown away on accident, right? Not a UFO, it
Right.
was that he'd built
It was
this.
like Mylar paper.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how they would actually think he might be in there. And people were like following it and trying to catch it because they thought this little boy was stuck inside of it.
Yes. Oh,
But the whole thing was super light. Like, there's no way it could have carried anybody. But they were like freaking out. And when all along they told their son to hide or something.
okay, that was a wackadoo story. I do remember that now.
So that's just as crazy as this guy who claims that they stole his kidney when he was the one that actually set it all up.
Okay, but apparently in India in 1995, they passed a law against organ harvesting. In Uttar, sorry, and Pradesh in India, and a string of other states, middlemen continue to bring in poor people in need of money. They give them $1,000, which is more than a year's salary for rural Indian labor workers. And then those receiving the organs pay $6,000 to $10,000 for this. And in 1998, in May, 3 surgeons and 7 others were arrested for tricking indigents out of their kidneys.
Hmm.
In 2008, okay, hello, this isn't very long ago. 2008, several people arrested in Indian city of Gugaon. I don't know how to pronounce that. Gurgaon for promising jobs, then duping or forcing them into donating their kidneys. However, police later determined that the primary plaintiff had both of his kidneys.
Oh.
So he makes this claim about these people, and it turned out he had both of his kidneys.
See, like, if I wanted a kidney and I was gonna spend money, I'd probably want it from somebody who was taking really good care of
For
themselves,
sure.
not somebody who lives on the street and who could barely eat.
For sure. But can't you see that being like a topic of a movie?
Yeah, that's really scary.
Right?
Ugh. Well, I guess there's a market for
I
anything.
guess so. I guess so. Especially when it comes
You
to
know, I
things
know
like
that you love the beach,
yes.
and you know Battery Russell
Yeah, I've heard of that.
out kinda by Astoria,
Yeah.
seaside
Yeah.
out there?
It's the old ship, right?
It's like the old, like for the war. They had the up on the
Oh, yeah,
hillside.
yeah, yeah. We walked
It's
through it. It's big concrete, it's like forts. It's like they used to.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
fort. It's like Fort Stevens,
Yes.
but it's Battery Russell. There is a soldier that walks around at night with a flashlight.
No.
Yes, people have seen him, and when they approach him, he disappears.
What?
Yes. So when we go out there to
Ooh.
find our 30-year-old missing bridesmaid
Yes.
with Adventures with a Purpose, we're gonna hit Battery Russell at night, and you can listen to the waves of the crashing, ocean, and we're going to find our, uh,
And then
our
I'm gonna pee
soldier.
my pants if we see this.
God, not me. I'm gonna go running after it. And then in Astoria, the Flavel House, is that how you say it? Flavel?
Flavel? I don't know. Yeah, sure.
Flavel. It is a mansion turned museum, but it is said to be that the family that used to live there is still living there. And they can be heard talking,
Ooh.
kids laughing, music playing in the other rooms. Um, so that's kind of
Have
exciting.
they ever
So while
done
we're out there,
have they ever done one of those, like, had those ghost hunters come and stay in the house and see if they can get anything?
I'm pretty sure both of those locations, because it's in like the top 10 Oregon, like ghost
Spooky.
places, haunted places. I'm pretty sure that's on the list of places that people go to. What's really cool is on Tuesday we're going to be talking with our girls here in town that run their own podcast, but we are going to be talking about the Shanghai tunnels, and they're going to be talking about the Pittock Mansion, and both are supposed to be haunted. Well, I found on Facebook or on Instagram two girls that are actual. They used to be tour guides for the Shanghai tunnels, so I'm going to interview with them on Tuesday and get firsthand stories of things that they've experienced.
Yay. Have they experienced it?
Yes. They have, and they've been on a multiple different shows and done lots of interviews. So I think they're going to be pretty exciting. I think they live in Tigard, so that's even cooler that
Oh
they're
my
here in
gosh,
town.
that's
So it'll
awesome.
be fun to get. So there was a witch in Lafayette, Oregon. Did you see
Really?
that?
No.
Yeah. She said it was in the 1800s. She was basically hung for being a witch.
Oh.
And so she put a curse on the town saying that it was going to burn down 3 times, down to the ground. And so far, it has burned down twice. Yes. And it's said to be that the town, it has burned down twice, but she is still roaming the cemetery from where she is buried or
Where is
was hung or
Lafayette?
whatever. I kind of feel like it's south. Um, I'm guessing around Salem-ish area. I don't know exactly. Oh gosh, have you heard of the leaping lawyer?
Yes!
Did you read
Oh my
that?
gosh, yes. Tell that one. Tell that one.
Yeah. So that was from in July 9th, 1993. There was a lawyer. His name was Gary Hoy, Hoy. Is that Hoy?
Oh,
He was a senior partner in a law firm, and he liked to show people that he was like their building was super strong, and that basically he would run and throw himself against his window of his office to show that it won't break.
like he's like how many
And
floors up?
he's
Yeah.
24 floors up, and he had been doing this forever. Like, it sounded like something he did a
Yeah.
lot, and so he would always show off, and he would full on run and hit his window in his office. Well, it just so happens in front of a bunch of law students on July 9th, 1993, the window finally broke, and he fell to his death.
Yeah.
So he's nicknamed the Leaping Lawyer, which is super sad, but then I'm thinking that had to have hurt even when the window didn't break, right?
Yes.
To throw yourself up against the wall, that
Yeah.
probably doesn't feel good. I'm imagining like you've got like face oils like all over the window from when hitting it. Like,
Well, and what are
um,
you let hit? Because if you do your arm, like that's really hurt. That really hurts.
I'm imagining like he's running and he's jumping like up in a ball on his side and hitting it.
Oh,
But then I don't know how he's actually doing it.
I don't either.
But
But they said he went full out. The only reason I didn't know
yeah,
that one is because I was like, I've never heard of this urban myth.
yeah.
But
I hadn't either, but I thought that was really
yeah,
crazy. Like,
really crazy.
who would do that anyway? First of all, let's just think like a lawyer. Are they really going to run full bore and hit a window
Well,
to
that's
show that it doesn't break?
stupid because, by the way, you are
Aren't you getting a headache?
every single time you do that. And if you're doing the same window, like, hello,
Like, what kind of trick is that? Like, I would have been like, okay, that was really weird. Why did that guy just do
right?
that?
Okay, and then did you
Like,
read what they said about him at the end?
no, tell me.
Well, I'm probably misquoting this, but they said that the other partners, they put out a statement and they were like, he was a very smart, wonderful man. I was like, oh my gosh, he is not that smart.
Yeah, I read that they did say some funny quote about that. Like, I can't remember exactly what it said, but something along those lines where like he was one of the smartest, brightest people
Yeah,
here. And you're like, really?
yes, that was it.
Because let's just say you, hey, come into my office. I'd like to show you a couple things. And then he full on runs and tries to hit the window. I'd be like, this guy is nuts.
Well, and they said he was a senior partner, right? So he
Right.
was not a young
Who
guy.
does that?
He's not a young guy. I mean, I don't know how old you have to be a senior partner. I'm sure there's younger, like maybe 40, right? But it's not like he was in his 20s and like fit, like really muscular, can run into a brick wall like a football player or something. I would think he's at least in his 40s, and your body starts to get a little.
I'm just saying, Melissa, if you got some fancy office with what you do, and I went up there and I was like, first of all, I'm taking the stairs because I'm not going to get decapitated
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
elevator.
Me too.
I'm gonna huff and puff up the 24th floors, and then if I walked into your office and you're like, "Let me show you something," and you started running for the window, I would think you were insane.
Seriously.
I don't know if I would want to do business with you.
No. I mean,
I'm like,
right?
this woman might know how to decorate, but she is nuts. I'm out of here.
So, do you remember last week and we did the stories of, or you did the stories of strange laws
Yeah,
that are still in the books? So,
yeah,
remember the dildo one that it that
yes,
it was illegal to have more than 6 dildos?
yeah.
So, I'm with my girlfriend today.
And I said you were arrested.
I was social distancing, having a beer with my girlfriend today, and she goes, I instantly went, wait, one, two, three, four. I have four. I
Dirty bird.
I laughed so hard. I'm like, you need four dildos? Really? One
God.
or two wasn't enough? You need four?
Yeah, why?
Yeah. So she better not go to Arizona with two more.
I want to know who this girl is.
It
It was a girl, right?
was a girl.
Okay.
It was a girl. You can meet her.
That's really
Yeah,
funny.
wasn't that funny?
I will never look at her the same. All your friends, I'll be like, I bet it's her. I bet it's her. She looks like one of those. I bet she's the one with 4. I'm just gonna ask Alice. She'll tell me.
Well, you know what? We're gonna have to have her on the air. Okay, so describe to us why you need four, like different
Yeah.
sizes, colors, widths. Like, do they do different things?
Do they have different names?
Yeah,
I wanna hear their names. Who do you like the
do
most?
you
What's your
need
boyfriend's
them?
name?
Do they have different battery powers? Like, remotes, no remotes? Like, what's the deal?
Oh my god.
We need to get to the bottom of that.
I don't know about that. There's just some things we shouldn't know. I just don't know if I can look at any of your friends and be like, mhm. Especially if you know all those details. But I mean, it's interesting. People,
It made me
I don't know.
laugh. I was glad, that she told me because that made me laugh.
That is funny. Well, let's tell our callers, I'm sorry, our listeners how they can get a hold of Alice Moon if they would like to get a little health checkup.
Yeah, everybody needs.
Do you remember? I think so. I think it sounds really scary, but it doesn't have to be.
Mm-mm.
I think it's a good thing to know. She obviously she doesn't really know you. So it is just what she picks up and then she can email you back. She can have a phone call with you, whatever you prefer.
Well, and that's the thing. She really prefers to do email because she takes her time. Like she wants a little.
She does, and so she says sometimes things come to her even later. So if something else pops up, she can email you back a little bit more
Yeah.
if things come up throughout the day. And so the other weird thing, when I told her that I sent her my friend, my client Karen, um, I sent her. I said, My client Karen might be getting a hold of you. She's been having some back issues." She's like, "Oh my gosh, my back has been bothering me." And she goes, "I thought it was you, but it's your client," which is really funny because she got the headache through me thinking it was me, but it was you.
Oh my gosh.
So she already felt Karen before it happened
Was she a
because
Karen?
she knows when we talk about her,
Oh, that's right.
when we think about her, she knows it. So
What is she
I
doing
think
right
she's
now?
already tapped in, right? That's so
So
crazy.
we should send her positive thoughts right now.
Well, I never think anything negative of her. She's amazing.
I know, but
She's
we can't send our sore muscles or our ailment.
No, we have to send her like, "Oh, I feel really relaxed and good right now.
Yeah,
Can you feel that?" Like, "Oh, my neck feels good." Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
And eating
because she
some
can feel those
chocolate.
things. Like, she's empathic like your son.
Yes. I wish
Yeah.
he had those talents.
Well, maybe he does more than he thinks he does.
Yeah. Well, so how do
Like,
people get a hold of her?
you walk in the room and you can feel the energy in a room and you would know.
For sure.
Yeah,
So
it's just
how
being
do you get a hold
tapped
of
in there.
her? How do people get a hold of her?
Oh, you wanna email her. It's psychicmedicine@gmail.com. Her name
Easy.
is Alice Moon. Please tell her that we sent you.
Yes,
The Salon Sleuth sent you.
that's right. The SS
She needs to
squad,
know.
girl.
Yes. Say your friends from the Salon Sleuth are care about you so much that we want you to get a hold of her.
Yeah.
Hey, Melissa, what kind of bras do you wear?
Oh my gosh, I wear handful bras.
Tell me why you love them so much. You talk about them all the time, and I just want to understand what is so great about them.
Well, I love them because they're comfortable. They are not constricting, so I can still like breathe and move around. And I like to do yoga too, and I like to stretch. And I do not like a bra that is just like sucking me in so that I'm so flat and can't breathe. I love the patterns. I love the different styles. Right now, they have this really cute, like teal color, and they've done a couple patterns in it too. And they have this wavy one, which I can't even remember the name because they have absolutely adorable names for these things. But they have the adjustable bra, which is their classic. They have the closer bra, which is great for people like you that have a little more than a handful. It's got the two little hooks and then it zips up. And my favorite pattern right now is the ripple effect, is what it's called. And then I love the double down, which is a really cute new style that they have. And I love their leggings because I think they made them for me because they're so long. And they have a cute camo legging that I wear all the time.
I have those too. Brandy gave me a pair.
Oh my gosh, I
I
love
do
them.
have to say, I have a bunch of handful bras. I could not find them, and I found them in my daughter's room. She wears them all the time, and they are so cute. She almost could wear them as swimsuits. In fact, I think she does. Like she'll
Yep.
sunbathe in them because they are so cute. And I love when she wears like her tank tops, but you can see the bra strap kind of through it because they have the really cool crisscross and different designs. You can adjust them however you want, and I just think they're very flattering.
Yeah. And you got your first one. How's your first one?
I love it. No, I had them in the past, and then, for me, I needed a little bit more, and then they came out with this new one with the extra zip in it, and it really makes a big difference, and I love that it actually gives you 2, not just 1, and that's always been a problem in the past. You just get this, like, 1 mono boob. I actually still have 2 when I wear this new design that you had given me, so thank you, Melissa.
You're so welcome. Well, we do still have a handful code, as I recall.
We still do?
I think so. If not, we'll get it
That's like
updated.
20% off. Why aren't people buying these off the shelf?
I don't know. I don't know. They should be.
What is that code? Melissa, tell
That
me.
that code is Salon Sleuths. Gosh, you're putting me on the spot now,
I
Leslie.
think it's just Salon Sleuth. If you go
Yeah.
to the coupon code, it's just Salon Sleuth.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
But you have to spell sleuths right.
yes. And I'm part of this podcast, and I spelled it wrong when I made your first tank top. It did not. I was thought that was so stupid of me, but How do you spell it, Melissa?
You spell it SALONSLEUTHS. Go to handful.com, check them out. You'll be a fan for life.